I feel like I've entered a parallel universe, Deputy Speaker. The topic of this debate is the impact of the government's failures in the pandemic. We've had 4 government speakers now, one after the other, tell us how well everything's going. That's all the Prime Minister's had to say for the last 2 weeks. It's going terrifically well. What a great job we've done. There's a national emergency. Sydney, our biggest city, is in a never-ending lockdown with people dying every day, fighting for their lives. My hometown of Melbourne is in its 6th lockdown. People are desperate, scared, desperate to get a vaccine. They can't get one. And this foolish motormouth, the member for Higgins, I wrote down the quotes. Well, the government's delivering the outcomes every Australian needs and requires. The government's doing a very good job. She said,
Order.
We've dealt with this crisis in such a good way, all Australians should be proud.
Member for Bruce will withdraw that statement about the member for Higgins.
Sure, I withdraw. And then she said, we made the right decisions, it's effective. The right decisions would have been getting the vaccines here, not being last in the developed world. The right decision would have been taking your responsibility under the Constitution for quarantine and having a safe national quarantine system, not one that's leaked 27 times, causing tens of billions of dollars of damage and hundreds of Australians to lose their lives. But you only need to look down the road from this parliament to see the scale of this national disaster. There is chaos right now in the national capital. What's the time, Deputy Speaker? In 48 minutes, our national capital goes into lockdown. The ACT in Canberra. Could there be a more dramatic end to this session of parliament than the national capital succumbing to Delta? The Prime Minister told us he's on a war footing against the virus. Well, for weeks he has been warned that Delta is coming and he's done nothing. He's watched it marching across regional New South Wales, taking town by town, coming to Canberra, because there was no ring of steel around Sydney and he failed to act and protect the ACT. Well, if this is the Prime Minister's war, he's losing the national capital. He prides himself on national security, but he cannot secure the national capital. And the impact could be enormous. This population here is unvaccinated. It's the centre of government and national administration. It's the seat of the Defence Forces, and it's the centre of our democracy. But as others have said in the media, they've observed it would quite well suit the Prime Minister if the Parliament couldn't sit, so he can hide from scrutiny. Because every day he comes into here, he has to be accountable for his rorts, his waste, his corruption. A fish rots from the head, as has been said, and this Prime Minister sits right at the centre of the spider web, pulling the threads with the little coloured spreadsheets, pushing the money out to the marginal seats. But he's failed on those 2 most critical of jobs, the test that he set for himself this year. The test that he set for himself. Vaccines and quarantine. When the pressure is on, though, he does one of 2 things. He runs away and hides, or he blames someone else. The question is now, for the next couple of weeks, will Australians even see him? He might be back under the doona. Remember, he went missing over the winter break. He just kept disappearing. We actually had to put up missing posters to see if anyone had seen him. Or will he come out of hiding and find new people to blame? As Nikki Savas said today in The Age, I'll read this, "Cranky man in need of a plan," that was her headline. She reported him yelling and swearing and shouting like a petulant child on a phone call with the Treasurer of New South Wales, a Liberal guy, trying to negotiate a business package. And the Prime Minister got upset about who was going to take the credit for the package. And then, as a Cabinet Minister said, quoted about his own Prime Minister on his leadership, if you see a problem, throw money at it. If you see a problem, walk away from it. If you see a problem, duck shove it to someone else. That's what his ministers say about him. He yells and swears and screams at his friends in the New South Wales Liberal government. Don't be fooled. Australians should not be fooled by his daggy dad persona and the little guy with the baseball cap hammering the chook shed. He's a nasty, angry fake, and he's not up to his job, as the whole country has seen. But he's not just a shapeshifter, he's a blame shifter. He's not a leader, he's a very cunning politician. He's the master of the blame game, but instead of acknowledging his mistakes, he just finds someone else to blame.
The member for Bruce.
Not my job, it's not my fault.
The member for Bruce will resume his seat. The member for Bruce will resume his seat. The member for Bruce will resume your seat. The member for Bruce, I was simply going to ask you to refer, when you're referring to refer to the Prime Minister by his appropriate name. The member for Bruce, when he's asked, when you are asked by the Speaker to resume your seat, you immediately resume your seat. The member for Bruce has the call.
I say that was out of order, Speaker. I called him the Prime Minister, I called him a blame shifter, and I said it's not up to his job.